Linda was about to marry the love of her life when she was blackmailed into sleeping with the groom's father. But the groom walked in, and everything came crashing down. Before we begin the story, comment below with the country you are watching from. Enjoy the story, everyone. A long, long time ago, in a small and peaceful place called Achlo village, there lived a girl named Linda. Linda wasn't just any girl, she was so beautiful that people in the village whispered about her beauty as if it were a secret treasure. Her mother, Janet, loved her more than anything in the world. Janet was a teacher and a kind, prayerful woman who always taught Linda to be good and to walk the right path. Linda and her mother lived in a neat and simple house surrounded by big, green trees. Janet made sure Linda was protected from trouble, especially from the boys in the village who often tried to catch Linda's attention. "Linda, my precious child," Janet would say, "you are like a shining star. Be careful not to let anyone dim your light." Janet took Linda to church every Sunday, and they read the Bible together every evening. Linda was smart, too. She worked hard in school and always came home with good grades. When Linda finished her primary school, she got into the best secondary school in the village. Her teachers often said, "This girl has a bright future ahead of her." Years passed, and Linda's hard work paid off. She passed her final exams with flying colors and received admission to study computer science at a big university in the city of Asaba. When Janet heard the news, she danced around the house, singing praises. The night before Linda left for the university, Janet called her into her room. The small lamp flickered, casting soft shadows on the walls. Janet held Linda's hands tightly. "My daughter," she said, her voice serious and loving, "you are going into a big world. There will be many distractions. Promise me you will stay away from bad friends, focus on your studies, and always remember to pray and read your Bible." Linda nodded. "I promise, Mama. I will make you proud." The next morning, Linda hugged her mother tightly, her eyes glistening with tears, and climbed into the bus heading to Asaba. The journey was long, but Linda's heart raced with excitement as the city came into view. Tall buildings touched the sky, colorful lights sparkled like stars, and cars zoomed past like they were in a race. It was nothing like a quiet village. Life at the university started well. Linda studied hard, just as she promised her mother. But soon, she began to notice something. Some of the girls her age wore shiny dresses, carried expensive bags, and used fancy phones that sparkled like magic mirrors. They lived in beautiful apartments, drove sleek cars, and went to parties where the music never seemed to stop. Linda felt a small pang of envy in her heart. She wondered, how do they afford all these things? One sunny afternoon, Linda decided to visit a nearby salon to get her hair done. She walked along the bustling street, her sandals tapping softly against the pavement. Suddenly, a shiny black car pulled up beside her. The window rolled down smoothly, and inside sat a man dressed in a suit that looked more expensive than anything Linda had ever seen. His smile was wide and his voice warm. "Hello, beautiful," he said. "Can I give you a ride?" Linda hesitated. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind, "Be careful, my child." But the man's smile seemed kind, and the car was so luxurious. She nodded slowly and got into the car. The man introduced himself as Chief Samuel. "I'm a businessman," he said, his gold watch gleaming in the sunlight. "What's your name?" "Linda," she replied shyly. Chief Samuel chuckled. Such a lovely name for a lovely girl. He dropped her off at the salon, but not before handing her a bundle of crisp, clean money. "Buy yourself something nice," he said with a wink. "I'll call you later." Linda stared at the money in her hands, her heart racing. She had never held so much money before. As she walked into the salon, a grin spread across her face. With the money, she made her hair, bought new clothes, and even a fancy bag. When she returned to her hostel, Her roommates gasped. "Linda, you look amazing," they exclaimed. But deep inside, Linda felt a strange flutter of excitement mixed with something she couldn't quite name. She couldn't wait to hear from Chief Samuel again. She didn't know that her life was about to take a turn she could never have imagined. The next day, as the sun rose lazily over the city, Linda's phone buzzed. It was a call from Chief Samuel. Her heart skipped a beat as she answered. "Hello, Linda. Can we meet somewhere close to your campus today?" he asked. Linda agreed, her voice steady but her heart racing. She spent hours choosing the perfect outfit, finally settling on a fine, figure-hugging dress that made her look like a movie star. When Chief Samuel arrived, his eyes lit up with delight. "You look stunning," he said, taking her hand as they sat down to talk. Over cold drinks and sweet pastries, Chief Samuel spoke softly. "Linda, I'll be honest with you. I am a married man with grown-up children, but I can't stop thinking about you. I want you to be my girlfriend. I will take care of you and make all your dreams come true." Linda's heart pounded. Her mother's face flashed in her mind, her stern warning about staying on the right path. But the thought of living like the glamorous girls she envied made her hesitate. "I'll think about it," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Before they parted that evening, Chief Samuel handed her another bundle of cash and a bag filled with provisions. "Take this," he said with a warm smile. "You deserve the best." Linda thanked him, her hands trembling as she accepted the gifts. That night, she lay in bed staring at the ceiling. The money, the gifts, the promises of a luxurious life, all of it tugged at her heart. But so did the image of her mother, who had sacrificed so much for her. "What would Mama think?" she whispered to herself. Sleep didn't come easily. By morning, Linda's mind was made up. She picked up her phone and called Chief Samuel. "I've decided," she said. "I'll be your girlfriend." Chief Samuel kept his promises. He rented a beautiful apartment for Linda and filled it with expensive furniture. He bought her a sleek car that turned heads whenever she drove by. He took her to high-end boutiques where she picked out the finest clothes and shoes. Her hair sparkled with human extensions, and her phone was the latest model. He even whisked her away on trips abroad, where she saw places she had only dreamed of. On campus, Linda became a sensation. Other girls whispered about her new lifestyle, envying her wealth and beauty. Boys admired her from afar, knowing they couldn't compete with the powerful man behind her transformation. Linda basked in the attention, her life now a whirlwind of luxury and excitement. Chief Samuel visited her often, always bringing gifts and showering her with affection. Linda never lacked money, and for a while, it seemed like she had everything she ever wanted. But deep inside, a tiny voice whispered, reminding her of the simple life she had left behind, and the promises she had made to her mother. The voice grew louder with each passing day, but Linda wasn't ready to listen, not yet. One evening, as Linda relaxed in her lavish apartment, her phone buzzed with a notification. She opened it and saw a message from a dating site she had joined out of curiosity months ago. A man named Raymond had sent her a message. His profile picture showed a handsome young man with a kind smile. Intrigued, Linda clicked on his profile. He was studying abroad for his master's degree in cybersecurity. Linda replied to Raymond's message, and they began chatting. His messages were sweet and thoughtful, making Linda smile every time she read them. Raymond called her often, and their conversations became the highlight of her days. Over time, they grew close. Raymond told Linda he loved her and promised to marry her when he returned to the country. He sent her gifts and money, but more than that, he made her feel loved in a way that was different from Chief Samuel. Linda never mentioned Raymond to Chief Samuel. She knew it would be dangerous if he found out. She carefully juggled her double life, always watching her words and actions to avoid suspicion. After a year of a long-distance relationship, Raymond completed his studies and returned to the country. His family was overjoyed to have him back, proud of his achievements. That evening, Raymond asked his father's driver to take him to Linda's place. When Linda saw Raymond step out of the car, her heart leaped with joy. She ran toward him, and they embraced tightly. It felt like all the months of waiting had melted away in that single hug. Raymond held her close, whispering, "I've missed you so much, Linda." Linda's eyes sparkled with happiness as she pulled back slightly to look at him. "I've missed you too," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. Raymond handed her a bag filled with gifts, beautiful dresses, perfumes, and a delicate gold necklace. "This is for you," he said with a warm smile. "I thought about you every single day." Linda's cheeks flushed with happiness as she accepted the gifts. They spent the evening talking and laughing, catching up on everything they had missed. When it was time for Raymond to leave, he held her hands and looked into her eyes. "I'll come back tomorrow," he promised. He leaned in and kissed her gently before getting into the car and driving off. As Linda watched the taillights fade into the night, a wave of guilt washed over her. She thought about Chief Samuel and the secret she was keeping from him. But when she touched the gold necklace Raymond had given her, her heart softened. "Maybe I can have it all," she whispered to herself. The next day, Raymond returned, bringing flowers this time. They went out to a cozy restaurant where they shared stories and laughter. Raymond's kindness and sincerity made Linda feel like she was in a fairy tale. "I want you to meet my family soon," Raymond said as they walked back to her apartment that evening. Linda's heart skipped a beat. "Meet your family?" she asked, her voice filled with both excitement and worry. "Yes," Raymond said with a reassuring smile. "I've told them about you, and they can't wait to meet the woman who has stolen my heart." Linda smiled, but inside, her mind raced. She hadn't told Raymond about Chief Samuel, nor had she told Chief Samuel about Raymond. The two worlds she was juggling felt like they were closing in on her. A week later, Raymond invited Linda to his family home. It was a large, beautiful house with a sprawling garden. His mother and siblings welcomed her warmly, and Linda's nervousness melted away. They asked her questions about her studies, her family, and her dreams. She found herself feeling at home with them, imagining a future where she was part of this loving family. Meanwhile, Chief Samuel had started to notice changes in Linda. She seemed distracted during his visits and sometimes took longer to reply to his messages. One evening, he arrived at her apartment unannounced, carrying a box of her favorite chocolates. When Linda opened the door, her eyes widened in surprise. "Chief, I wasn't expecting you," she stammered, trying to hide her unease. Chief Samuel stepped inside, his sharp eyes scanning the room. He noticed the bouquet of flowers on the table and a small gift box with Raymond's name on it. His smile faded, and a shadow crossed his face. "Linda, who gave you these?" he asked, his voice calm but edged with suspicion. Linda's heart raced. "Oh, they're just from a friend," she said, trying to sound casual. Chief Samuel's eyes narrowed. He placed the chocolates on the table and leaned closer. "A friend, you say? Linda, I hope you're not hiding anything from me. You know I've done everything to make you happy." Linda forced a smile. "Of course not, Chief. You're the only one who takes care of me." But Chief Samuel wasn't convinced. He left that night with a heavy heart, vowing to keep a closer watch on Linda. As days turned into weeks, Linda's life became more complicated. She spent her days with Raymond, dreaming of a future together, while maintaining her luxurious lifestyle with Chief Samuel. But the weight of her double life began to take a toll on her. She found herself constantly looking over her shoulder, fearing that her secret would come crashing down. Several weeks later, Raymond told his parents that he was ready to propose to Linda. His mother was overjoyed and began making plans for the engagement. However, his father, Chief Samoa, asked Raymond to invite Linda to the house again, explaining that he had been away during her first visit and would like to meet her properly. Raymond, unaware of the storm brewing, excitedly informed Linda that his father wanted to meet her. Linda's heart sank when she heard this. It dawned on her that Raymond was serious about getting married her. She remembered Chief Samoa, the man she had been secretly involved with, the man who had showered her with gifts and money. But she had no choice. She couldn't tell Raymond the truth. On the day of the visit, Linda dressed carefully. She wore a modest but elegant dress, trying to look like the perfect future daughter-in-law. When she arrived at the house, Chief Samoa was waiting in the living room with his wife. The moment their eyes met, Linda and Chief Samoa froze in shock. Time seemed to stand still as they both realized the full weight of the situation. But they quickly composed themselves, putting on polite smiles so that no one would suspect anything. Linda greeted Chief Samoa with a respectful bow, as though meeting him for the first time. Chief Samoa played along, shaking her hand and welcoming her warmly. Throughout the evening, they avoided direct eye contact, but tension crackled in the air. Raymond, oblivious to the undercurrents, was beaming with pride, holding Linda's hand and introducing her to everyone as the love of his life. After the visit, Linda returned to her apartment, her mind racing. She felt trapped, her double life now on the verge of collapse. She didn't have to wait long for Chief Samoa to confront her. He showed up at her apartment the very next evening, his face dark with anger. "Linda, what is the meaning of this?" he demanded as soon as she opened the door. "How could you? My son. Do you have any idea what you've done?" Linda burst into tears. "Chief, I didn't know Raymond was your son. I swear I didn't." Chief Samoa paced the room, his fist clenched. "This is unacceptable. You've made a fool of me, Linda. How do you expect me to allow this marriage to happen?" Linda knelt before him, pleading. "Please, Chief. I love Raymond. I never meant for this to happen. Please don't tell him. Don't ruin this for me." Chief Samoa glared at her for a long moment before speaking. "Fine. I won't say anything. But if you want to marry Raymond, you will continue our relationship. No one has to know." Linda's heart sank. "Chief, please don't make me do this. I can't." "It's the only way," Chief Samuel said coldly. "Either you agree, or I tell Raymond everything. Let's see if he still wants you after that." Torn between her love for Raymond and the trap Chief Samoa had set for her, Linda felt like the walls were closing in. After a long silence, she whispered, "I'll do it." Chief Samoa smirked, satisfied. "Good. Remember, this stays between us. If you try to break it off, you'll regret it." The days that followed were a nightmare for Linda. She felt like a puppet, controlled by Chief Samoa's demands and her own guilt. Meanwhile, Raymond was busy making plans for their future. He took her to look at engagement rings, talking excitedly about the life they would build together. Linda forced a smile, but inside, she felt like a storm was brewing. One evening, Raymond's mother invited Linda over to discuss the engagement ceremony. As they sat in the grand living room, Chief Samoa entered, his eyes locking with Linda's for a brief moment. Linda's palms grew sweaty, but she kept her composure. "Linda, you're like a daughter to us now," Raymond's mother said warmly. "We are so happy to have you in our family." Linda forced a smile, nodding politely. But as the evening wore on, the weight of her secret became unbearable. She excused herself to use the restroom, but instead, she stepped outside, gasping for air. The stars above seemed to mock her, shining brightly while her world was shrouded in darkness. Just then, Chief Samoa appeared, his expression stern. "Remember your promise," he said quietly. Don't even think about backing out. Linda nodded, tears streaming down her face. She felt like a bird trapped in a cage, her dreams of freedom slipping further and further away. Raymond and his kinsman traveled to Achlo village to properly ask for Linda's hand in marriage. After the traditional rites, a date was fixed for the wedding ceremony in the city of Asaba. Linda's double life weighed heavily on her, and as the wedding day approached, her guilt became unbearable. She knew she had to confront Chief Samoa one last time. On the morning of the wedding, Linda was lodged in the same hotel as Raymond, but they were in different rooms. She sent for Chief Samoa and asked her maids of honor to excuse them, saying she needed to discuss something important with her father-in-law. When Chief Samoa arrived, Linda stood in her wedding gown, her hands trembling. "Chief, I can't do this anymore," she said, her voice shaking. "Please, let me go. I love Raymond, and I want to start my life with him without this burden." Chief Samoa's eyes narrowed. "We had an agreement, Linda. You can't back out now." Tears streamed down her face. "Please, I'm begging you. I'll do anything, but I can't keep living like this." Chief Samoa thought for a moment, then smiled cruelly. "Fine. I'll let you go, but only on one condition." "What is it?" Linda asked desperately. "You'll sleep with me one last time. Right now." Linda's heart sank. "Chief, please don't make me do this. It's my wedding day." "Take it or leave it," he said coldly. "If you refuse, I'll tell everyone the truth." Desperate and broken, Linda hesitated but finally agreed. With a heavy heart, she allowed Chief Samoa to have his way. While they were in the act, Raymond's best man, Leo, came to deliver a wedding gift from Raymond. The door was not properly locked, and as Leo pushed it open, he froze in shock at the sight before him. What is this?" Leo stammered, his face pale. Chief Samoa and Linda scrambled to cover themselves, but the damage was done. Leo immediately called Raymond. "You need to come here right now," he said, his voice trembling. When Raymond arrived and saw the scene, his world shattered. He stared at Linda and his father, unable to process what he was seeing. Then, without a word, he collapsed to the floor. Panic erupted as everyone rushed to help him. He was rushed to the hospital, unconscious. Linda and Chief Samoa were left in the hotel room, their faces pale with shame. Linda sobbed uncontrollably, while Chief Samoa sat silently, his face buried in his hands. They had destroyed everything. At the hospital, Raymond eventually regained consciousness, but his heart was broken beyond repair. He refused to see Linda or his father. The wedding was called off, and news of the scandal spread like wildfire. Linda's life fell apart. She lost Raymond, the love of her life, and became the subject of ridicule and gossip. Chief Samoa faced the wrath of his wife and family, who could not believe the depth of his betrayal. The once happy families were torn apart, leaving a trail of pain and regret. And so, the story of Linda and Chief Samoa became a cautionary tale in Achlo village, a lesson about greed, betrayal, and the devastating consequences of secrets.